The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. I want to be remembered that way, as a person who early on in his life took control of his life, set goals for himself. When people gave me lined paper, I wrote the other way. When people expect some certain behavior from me, I will frustrate their expectations. I know a million ways to tear up the script. I know a dozen ways to end a conversation without bloodshed. I've learned an awful lot, and along the way, I searched to others for guidance. But it was my way, it was my goal. What I said was good was good. What I said was bad was bad. And my intuition about things served us well, because there was a time, maybe 30 years ago, when I told my wife in all earnestness, those pension plans are not going to be there when one finally grows old enough. The money you put in the savings and loan, it's not going to be there. The good credit that you spent 30 years protecting will be gone in 2 weeks when the timely payments stop. The respect that your neighbors hold for you is not respect, it's a form of tolerance. Everything you think and know, at least 85% of it is utter crap. And if you would take the scales from your eyes and see things as they are, you would live a better life. And it might not seem as rosy, but then you would not be continually crushed by expecting certain behaviors that are not in the cards. They're just not there. That was the very beginning of my writing career. That shot was shot on the soundstage at MGM, where they shot Nothing in the Dark. That's taken from a larger photo that has Gladys Cooper standing beside me as the old lady in The Old Lady and Mr. Death Story. But that was me, and how I dressed and how I looked, and what I used as a kind of an armor to get onto the studios and come off as Mr. Joe College. So this is me, age 30, thereabouts. On the right of the picture is Taylor Byers. He's a cameraman, quite a nice reputation, had been involved in the making of a lot of pictures. He's a cinematographer. In the very center of the picture in the background is David Dale Kurland, who was the camera operator and an essential element of the making of this Intruder film. I'm in the foreground, and this old gentleman here, he looked right. He was a local resident. He doesn't really understand a lot of what's going on. I involved him in the making of the movie, and I referred to him as Uncle John. You know, what's the matter, Uncle John? Won't he let you beat him? You know, kind of repartee. A lot of ad-libbing with people like this, rustics in the city.
Okay.
In the very center is Ray Bradbury. He was invited to the set of Logan's Run by William F. Nolan. And he came and hung out with us for an afternoon while they were shooting various parts of the movie Logan's Run. I think the fellow on the right is, could be Anderson. I'm not sure, the director, but I'm not sure. Anyway, it's William F. Nolan on the far left and various people involved in the making of the movie in this set. Just a little shot that somebody took and mailed me a copy of. Well, the guy sitting down, I don't know exactly what this got to do with what we're talking about here, but his name is George DiCaprio, and he's Leonardo DiCaprio's father. And I've known him many, many, many years. And I've known Leonardo since he was a boy, 10 or thereabouts, and would come to the conventions. This is the San Diego Comic-Con. That's me and George talking about some stuff. Okay. We were once looking at a painting by Robert Williams, and I was marveling at how Williams made this reflection in the bumper of this car in this painting. How did he put that paint on? And George explained to me that Robert wished it on. And we became fast friends after that because we found we were talking the same language. This photo was taken at the first reunion of the Twilight Zone actors. And all those people in the picture are people who played in episodes of the Twilight Zone. People like Barry Morris and H.M. Wynant and Anne Francis and Arlene Martell, and you can identify them all if you get up close and look at them. But they all gathered together at the Beverly Garland Motel, and we had a big banquet commemorating this Twilight Zone. And at that time, I found out that all of these people were only too happy to appear as background or stunt or people in Twilight Zone episodes. They all had, they were all ready to be redone. And so I put in a call to Penn Densham at the new Twilight Zone thing to tell him that he was really being foolish if he didn't take advantage of all of this talent that he could get to lend a certain kind of an authenticity to this Twilight Zone episodes he was making, but he wasn't very interested.
Okay.
It's a younger Ray Bradbury and a younger George Clayton Johnson who encountered each other at a convention when there was a photographer present. But I was always delighted to be in that gentleman's aura, because he is an absolute American treasure. Nothing quite like him in the 20th century. And I believe that his book, The Martian Chronicles, is probably going to live forever. It's just one of the great, great books, one of the top, let's say, 20 or 30 books of the 20th century.
Okay.
I have to have become his friend, and he is my hero. And isn't it amazing, through all of these years, he has never, ever let me down. He's always done absolutely fabulous things and continues to do them. He's nothing but a force for good, Ray Bradbury, and I feel honored to have known him in my life.
It flows into everything. The cold is pressing in on the hot in every place, in every spot. If wherever there's a little atom, wherever there's a little molecule, wherever there's a little cell, most of it is empty. And all of that emptiness connects with all of that emptiness, connects with all of that emptiness, and emptiness is everywhere. This emptiness has oxygen in it. This emptiness has some other stuff in it. But in and around and between the whirlings of the little energies that aren't really there, when you start to peel them away, nothing is solid. And you suddenly, where did the mass come into this equation? Now the thing's got mass. Before this, it doesn't have mass. Now it has mass. Where did the mass come from? What is mass? What is space? What is time? What is energy? What is consciousness? See, what is the photon? It's a little electromagnetic measurement of energy. What is it? We don't know. Nobody knows. Read the books. Nobody knows. They don't have the faintest idea. Let there be light, said God. If there was a Big Bang and all of the universe cooked out, whirled into stars, planetary formations, and like that, at a certain point they'd get dense enough that they'd begin to go into a radioactive phase and they'd begin to emit light. All the lights in heaven went on at the same time, approximately. And God said, let there be light. And a starry universe was born, because before there was a starry universe, there was 454 degrees below zero, electrically conductive to the total max, probably a state of pure consciousness. Probably everything in the universe is conscious.